Okay, I am in the Schumann Quintet first movement. And the last time I recalled that the tempo is faster with the quintet than I was practicing before. So let's see what sticks. Interesting. Almost. Written 2-1. Now, if I do what I normally do, I would go into the keyboard for the thumb. But that would make it really hard to get to the F octave. So I'm going to notate to myself to come out. And that makes it easy. But then I used a different finger. I used exactly the reverse finger from what I wrote. Okay. Mysteries. Instead of 1-2-1, I'm going 1-1-2. How do I get there? I'll go 3. No. Just 3 requires me to think too hard. 2 is there. What fun. Oops. That was funny, because I erased what I had written and I wrote it down exactly the same. And I end up with what I had before. My body keeps rebelling against it. It's very interesting. I'm going to add that third finger because it's kind of nice. I'm willing to do this, not a whole lot of thinking. And start again. Yes, okay. I hope I remember why I like it. That's okay. volume is rehearsal number D. Is playing a D major chord. I just have to know it. Where the comfort lies and what groups with what. Virtually the same hand position. Move in, move again. Left hand has to contract a bit. Right hand has to be completely replaced. Placed in a different place. That's it. The fingering is great. Fifth finger here doesn't tell me whether I wanted 5-2 or 5-1, but I like 5-2, so. Heading toward the first or second ending, the same passage becomes chromatic. So you've got to be aware. The easiest way is to feel the sensation of that chromatic. I remind myself exactly. I think it's yep. Right. Second time. The difference is only between having this B flat chord right here under the hand in the right hand and also under the left hand, or leaving the extra octave. Familiarity with, I just had my picture taken. My familiarity with these crazy keys that Schumann chooses is happening in spite of my recognition it's a crazy key. In other words, I'm doing that through physical memory. I wanted a fifth finger, but it looked like a 1. Now, what I'm doing here is reviewing how much of this passage immediately sticks and how much of it needs reanalysis. I do need a significant moment of repose when I start again. I need a feeling that even if something is perpetual motion, that there's always breath points. So I guess I may need to write them. Tilts of the hand. Okay, so here I get to rest a bit. It's not terrible. I mean, I'm starting to feel the familiarity. But now I have to figure out, I am at the point where I definitely need to start perfecting this and polishing. I'm going to work backwards. Let's see. I remember liking starting at the top of the page. Let's see about those. I'd better go. I'm going to go back here where the rhythm starts in the left hand. Faster than I need to. Because I have to persuade my body, or I have to have my body point out to me that yes, it's happy with that. Good. Although I've said it to myself, I did not clearly show that I was going for these 8-note groups. Yes. All right. White notes. Pseudo A minor. Whoops. Pseudo A minor is all white notes. This is good. And big gesture. My marks are completely redundant and pretty obvious, but it's just a little bit more helpful. Stay sense familiarity, which is to say my mind has to ever so slightly anticipate the sensation I'm going for. So this octave, if I can link that. There's not that many bass octaves, there's so much busyness, so I have to be sure I'm prepared to play them. Schumann gives me exactly 1/8 note extra to get ready. It's not a lot of time, but it's not too little time, but it requires me to know where I'm going. Because if I take the time to read the note in the score, it's too late. It's G. Okay. Just for fun, I'm going to write G. And then C. Rather than going back to the beginning, I'm going to do this little interlude and go back into the fray. Little bit of foreboding. So what I should do, of course, is want the foreboding to be in the sense of the music, not in the sense of how I anticipate difficulties in the passage work. So, if I put on my stage persona, then that's weirdly easier. I'm actually feeling that I'm putting the foreboding on rather than being challenged by it or confronted by it. Okay. Strangely, when I'm playing that part, then there's no prejudice. must admit, I'm shaking my head at Schumann. I have to be reminded it's not all me. In other words, if something is difficult, it can be a combination of things. It was written to be difficult, or it was written mindlessly and ended up difficult. It's difficult in general for pianists or musicians or whomever. Or it's difficult for me. And it can be any of those. It aids me a little bit to think that I recognize the complexity in here so that I don't take it personally. In other words, I don't think that all that many people love this many flats and double flats and things like that. Certainly that's borne out by what my string colleagues say. They'd rather not be playing A-flat minors and D-flat minors and things like that. I just have to get used to the fact that physically, if not score-wise, physically it's not that big a deal if I keep my wits about me and find a relatively easy way of defining these experiences and these solutions. Because they feel fun when they work. It's not that they're creating pain or anything. They're not asking me for great angularities of gesture or efforts or tensions. So those are all good things. I remember this one. This is the one where I reversed the grouping. In other words, this is the answering motive. But physically speaking, it's the other way around. I'm looking for recurrence. I want to be able to say at some point that I've done something before that I'm going to redo here. Schumann, of course, being renowned for repeating things, is being sneaky here because I'm not finding repetitive keys. I may as well label them as I go along. So this is G flat minor, which is of course the relative minor to B double flat major. How silly is that? Okay. And this is D flat minor, relative minor of F flat major. Flat minor, which is a little more moderate, related to C flat major. This is E flat minor. And it stays there. So I have a lot of preparations for that E flat. On bass. chromaticism at the end. Not a whole lot of recurrence. Too bad for me. Okay, I'm going to go back to finish. So now remember this. Enough to not have to turn the page. That's useful. Just a reminder, I need that third finger. That's it. Same 1-minute chord releasing today. At least there's recurrences at the bottom and the top. Different feel for these harmonic chords. Aside from the chromaticism at the end, I really need to spend time right now on the preparation for the end, the part before. Because it doesn't have the same, it's a more compressed pattern than what came before. So. Where it signals that it's transitional now, it's modulatory. So this modulation, or the slithery chromaticism. What really does guide me a lot, though, is what I've noted before. The topography, the tilted chord, the head-on chord, the two white note chords. See? I knew that before, I hadn't reminded myself. reinforcement. Learning theorists can tell you over and over and over, but unless you experience it firsthand and in a moment where it pays off, you never remember. And that makes me at least temporarily happy. So, let's see. It's just a E-flat minor descending scale. So. No. I just don't write enough reminders like this is fifth finger. I had written fourth finger on the F, but hadn't reminded myself that it's a 5/4. So in the heat of battle, you always want to be prepared with as much detail that will help you as possible, and as little that will distract you. And the 5 isn't going to distract you; it just reinforces something I already knew. This chord needs a different angle when it's in a different position relative to my body. You can just see the swing of my arm. So if I tilt a little bit that way, just swing my arm. The arc of that should get me my keys. And again, I try not to look for my fifth, but look to my thumb note, to the pseudo E, to E. E wrote as E. Yes. So this is a self-contained sort of major E major kind of chord. This is a spread out hand position with a turn fingering because of the black note. So now, the qualities of the chords are the same. They both sound like a major chord, but aren't. But they feel dramatically different. So if I'm ready for the feeling, and open my hand and go for the fifth, and don't worry about the whole chord. Here I can worry about the whole chord because it's comfortable. That's it. It's another 5/4. So as I'm coming down, still 5/4 2 1. Till a black note on the second. That helps me to turn in a thumb, of course, for the next white note. Okay. Let me work back. Let me choose. Before that section. Interesting. I've written 5-3-1 here. Now here I'm in a bit of a conflict. Because this is fine, this tilted B major, pseudo B major chord. But getting from 2 to 5 on this tritone, it's a backwards kind of feel, and then I go towards comfort. For my hand again, I have to make a big gesture to get me to the second, stay away. I have to consider the possibility of the turn fingering instead that I use with the black note second. This is craziness. I had 5-4-2-1, just the octave below. I'm sure it's not crazy. I can go validate my choice by reviewing a previous video, which I probably discussed doing that very thing, but the inconsistency is very odd for my body and my mind both. I guess I could have probably meant I was going to grab that more securely, but I feel the security from the consistency of this tilt. Okay, and then same fingering, but instead of a tilted hand position, I squared on white, black, white one. So tilt, straight note, pseudo A flat, pseudo A flat. All right. Tell with my fingering was. I think it was 5/3, but I don't have any indication. I'll put 5/3 in and see if that's what I meant. 5/3. Possibly so. So I'm going back. The tilted 5/4-2-1. So this transition is a little tricky for me. It's not really physically tricky, it's not really mentally tricky, it's tricky because it's unfamiliar. So once I practice that transition, it's really seamless. So going from 5/4-1-2 to 5/3-1-2, that's just not hard. But without awareness, I wouldn't know that. Which is why I keep stressing to myself and my students that much of practicing is that attitude adjustment. It's becoming aware so you know what you trust and why you trust it, and can trust it implicitly and can trust it quickly. So it's accessible. That's good. Except for the turned my arm, rotated my arm. It's not conscious because when your arm goes that way, it comes outward that way. It's rotating around your joints. So look at E, works like a charm. Okay, good. Let me go back to where this particular section starts at 8, which is rehearsal number 8. H. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Right. Luckily, most of these start, all of these start, with me alone, so I get to set those eighth notes. But this is also indicated as a forte entry. There's an intensification of attitude. It's at the peak of a crescendo. I always like to mark them graphically. It says crescendo in text at the bottom of one page, and 2 measures later, at the forte, at the end of the second measure of the next page, it reaches its apex. But I don't get to see that crash marking at the top of the page. So this is just a reminder that it's there. I might add the words as a double reminder. There was no crescendo, but that's... Okay. Let me do that again. I'll go to where it says A flat minor. Getting better. A flat minor again. These are, I'm getting to really like those simple 8-note groups. Flatty chord, A flatty chord. It does amuse me, admittedly, that it's either an A flatty chord or a pseudo A flat chord. If that's what my body feels, in other words, the simpler the label, the easier it is for my mind to feed my body what it should expect by way of sensation. If I talk about this resolution to this diminished chord, I'm not grabbing that diminished chord, I'm grabbing the major chord, it's turning diminished. So defining, maybe I need a different language, but A flatty will have to do, because it works. I gotta admit it, it's kind of endearing. I sort of have a sense of real affinity. It's my friend, it's my A flatty chord. And it's... And when I write a long, extended, learned book about the difference between how your body responds and how your mind responds to music, I'm sure that my A flatty chord will be one of the starring, play one of the starring roles. A flatty chord, not quite. Of it starts to just fall into place. At the very least, what I feel now is that my fingering, my gestures, my groupings are starting to give me the least amount of resistance. It's still like, it's not an intuitively obvious or agreeable experience. These 3 black notes, 5, 4, 2 fourths apart, they just happen to work beautifully to get me up here. So each one of these fingers on these keys is perfectly happy. None of the 3 of them would really ever say, oh, I much prefer to be paired with that other finger in exactly that position. I don't want to do that. Except here, I want to feel that provides me with security. In a row, the treble spot was in that 3 black note thing. I still like it. I'm convinced. key. No doubt. Serves me well. This is way beyond tempo, but that's good. At least I hope it's way beyond tempo. So basically it's a repeated experience in a different key. Now jazz it up. There's another black 5/4-2. In this case, when we first had it here, it was an E-flat 7th chord. Here, it's a diminished chord instead. It actually feels great. It's a nice compact chord. And here I turn my hand over. Turning over because I like my second on the black note. I'm wondering about the absence of the turnover fingering with the white with the black note. That's what makes me feel the oddness of this. Just after 9, H, I or J, I'm not sure what. Like 5/4-2-1. Actually, if I started on 5/4-2-1 and just kept the chain going, let's see what I prefer. Or let's see where I came from. Turn fingers there. I like the turn finger here. A little compressed. If I'm doing it at 9, or IJ, if I do that, I have to make a small adjustment. Go to 3 here to set up the 5th finger. If I stick with 2, it's just too big of a shift to get to 5 again. So 3. I think I like that. Again, it means I'll be able to use what was familiar. So I'm replacing my 4s with 5s, and with my straight arpeggios with turn arpeggios. 3, 5, 4. 4, 1, and then it'll come up. I think so. more quickly to it. And again, the familiarity is part of it. But I also think it's a good solution. So, let's see. I do have to remind myself that I'm turning over on a essentially E major chord. In other words, my second finger is on a white note. So that's not usual for this passage. I have to be conscious of that. Yeah, it still works. So I need to tilt my head actually a little bit to favor the fifth finger. Told myself about A flat. I have. When I do it, A flat. It's a little more tilt backwards. That's nice. I practiced it a while ago. I forgot it. So I have to remember. Right under my hand, yes. I'm exhausted. I'm going to stop briefly. Not physically exhausted, I should point out. It's emotionally draining to be this on this long. And not even the camera, but to apply yourself to this kind of task for an extended period of time. So breaks are in order.